Hello everyone, welcome back to Ramon at Home. I'm so excited you're here today because in today's video I'm going to share with you 3 fabulous Christmas DIYs for your home this holiday season. I'm so excited to bring you all these beautiful glam DIYs in gold, champagne, silver. It is just so gorgeous. We're gonna start with a beautiful wreath for your front door. We're going to do a centerpiece and a gorgeous lantern. But before we get started, I want to remind you that if you are not subscribed, to consider subscribing. While you subscribe, don't forget to turn the notification bell on because you will not want to miss the rest of the season. You guys, November's almost here. The holiday season is almost officially starting and I cannot wait. Also, don't forget to like this video and share with your friends on the Facebook, on the Instagram, and on the WhatsApp. Why? Well, because it is free and it really helps this channel. Are you guys ready? Let's get started. All right, you guys, so for our very first DIY, what we're going to do is we're going to create a fabulous wreath for your front door. You know that I'm always telling you that you only get one chance to create an impression, and that is at the front door. And I'm super excited to bring you even more wreath DIY ideas on our private group on Facebook, Ramon at Home Masterclass. If you want to learn how to make wreaths and how to sell them, I recommend that you come over to Facebook and you look up for our private group, Ramon at Home Masterclass, where you will learn all the tips and tricks of the trade. My tongue is like a tongue twister. So that you too can come and join us. We're creating a beautiful community of wreath makers over there, and I really hope to see you there. Remember, if all you have to do is go to Facebook, look for the post that is pinned to the top, and that'll give you the instructions on how to join us. But for this particular one, I'm going to add some garland to my grapevine. That's the way I like to design my grapevines, because that gives me something to attach to. I'm gonna cut the excess of it, and then I'm going to add some of this beautiful mesh. Now this particular wreath is inspired by one that we did on our masterclass, and I wanna share with you real quick a look at what that one looked like, the inspiration for this. Let's take a look. Okay, so here is the we'll be using as inspiration. The difference is that this wreath is done on a greenery wreath, to where the one we're working on right now, it will be done on a grapevine. The technique is the same. Remember, if you learn the technique, you too can create beautiful wreaths like this. All right, so now that you've seen what that wreath looked like I said, that is one of the wreaths that was done in our masterclass, and it's also available on our Etsy shop. So if you're looking for a wreath this holiday season, be sure to check out the Etsy shop where you'll find other designs. But I'm always telling you guys that I like to add some mesh to this design. This is a yellow gold, and it is very, it's almost like a canary yellow, but when I went to market, I saw a beautiful canary yellow and gold design, and I just knew immediately I had to do something with those colors. It had cream, gold, white, and of course yellow, and it was so beautiful. I knew immediately, like I said, that I had to do something. That is the beauty about going to places like that, that you know, you find inspiration in every corner of the place, and so sometimes it just sparks something, right, for you to create something beautiful. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of this mesh, not a lot of it, just a little bit. Remember that the reason why I add mesh is so that I can have something to attach to, and so mesh is one of the things, because the glue really attaches very well to mesh. And you guys, I want to say, give it up for Jameson for all of the hard work that he's been doing. He just loves reading your comments every Sunday. He goes to the gym and he just sits on the elliptical machine and reads your comments. So be sure to leave him a comment below. Come and say hi. Come and say hi to the peeps, so you guys can see, ask Jameson any questions that you may have.
Back, and here we are, rocking and rolling.
Rocking and rolling. So how are you doing?
We're doing great. We have a lot to do, so it's already November almost. It's crazy how time flies.
Isn't that amazing? So what do you have to say about the show we went to the other day?
Oh, it was spectacular. Thank you for everyone for coming out and supporting us and just having a great time and sharing their stories. I think we had more fun than you all did, actually.
Yeah, we was a lot of fun. All right, well, good up for Jameson, you guys. Thank you for being here, helping behind the camera. He's always just making sure that I get everything right. And sometimes, you guys, It's when we get to this point of the month, it's a lot. So I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it. And Jesse's like, we got to do it, we got to do it. So he's like the hype man. He's like the director. He does all of that. All right, so that's what the mesh is going to look like. Remember that we said it's just a little touch of mesh. We don't want a lot of it because basically it's just like the greenery. You'll be able to see it, but not a lot. And so this is what it's going to look like. And I'm also always telling you to go ahead and wipe your table as you go, but I don't see where I left my cloth, so I'm just gonna do it with my hands. All right, so what we're going to do is we're gonna start by adding some ribbon. And for that, I selected this beautiful ribbon from Shinoda Design Center. And I'm going to attach this ribbon by making some loops. And so I'm going to cut right here. I love it because it has a champagne color and then also some glitter. And it has some snowflakes. So I'm gonna go like this. I'm going to do 2 loop bows. And I'm going to go like this. Now this wreath, like I said, is going to be available on our Etsy shop. So you can find it by going to Etsy, the Ramon at Home, and that is THE Ramon at Home. You can find our store there. You can see all of the wreaths that we have available right now. But you can also just make your own. There's no problem with that. A lot of us love to craft, and me being one of them. And so I just love to show you guys these ideas. And like I was telling you earlier, the group is becoming more of a community. Michelle was at the show that we did in person, and she was part of the group, and it was just so nice to meet somebody from the group, you guys, in person, and to say hi, and to she was so nice and so kind. She gave me so many words of advice, and how, you know, the things sometimes that the people want to see that you just don't know. When you make so many videos like I do, like sometimes you just literally run out of ideas. And so she was telling me, have you tried this? Have you tried that? And so thank you so much, Michelle Montalvo, if you're watching. Thank you for being there that day and for being here for us all the time. We really enjoy talking to you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so I'm going to add some other loops right here, and I'm going to make sure that I have some tails. These tails, however, I don't want them to be too long, but what I like to do is wait till towards the end and adjust all of my tails, so that way I don't cut them too short. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bring me another type of ribbon that is going to coordinate with this one, and I'll be right back. Keep watching. All right, so I pre-looped some of this ribbon right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go all the way down on my bristle, and I'm going to attach this guy right here. And also I'm going to do some other loops. So basically what we want is a whole bunch of loops on a wreath with this beautiful ribbon. So that way I can cut some tails right here. And don't be afraid, you guys. I'm always telling you to not be afraid to cut your ribbons. I know some of us, you know, I used to be one of them that at the very beginning, I did not want to cut any of my ribbons, especially expensive ones. They're like, no, it almost feels wrong. But here I'm telling you, you get a better bang for your buck by cutting your ribbons short than you do by not, because that way you can control. Look, I'm not afraid to cut all of these beautiful loops and bows. And I have a few more that I'm going to add. Like this particular one I'm going to add right here. And when it's long like this, I want to give you a tip. So first attach all the way down. That's a must, because that will control the loop. And then also you might want to do this right here, where if you have a longer tail, you attach and then you swoop like that. That'll give you another loop. And then this particular one I'm going to cut as a tail. All right, I feel like I'm gonna stop right here. So this is, hang on, let me cut this a little shorter too. There we go. So this is what it looks like. So we have all of our champagne, we have all of our gold, and we have all of our loops. That's what's going to look like. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna start adding some of the greenery. You guys know that I like to add a variety of greeneries, and the way I like to do that is separate them on these little boxes right here. So I'm gonna bring it all out, and I like to add one type at a time. So I'm gonna bring out all of my printed cedar. This is pine, sorry. All the printed pine, and I'm gonna start adding the texture back in to my wreaths. And the way we do that is we're going to add a lot of glue to it. Don't be afraid to add glue to your wreaths. Remember that the more greenery, the more beautiful it's going to look like. And so you want to be generous with your glue as well. And then you go in and out. And that's why you want to add a lot of mesh to your wreath, because the more glue you put on it, that's going to really attach to that mesh. And as you guys can see, I'm gonna start working all the way from the top, from the bottom to the top. And also you want to make sure that you intertwine them. So in and out, and that's going to give you that balance right here. I have other greeneries or other foliages that I'm going to add. So I'm gonna stop right around here. And also on the outside, you wanna make sure that you add some to the outside. You don't wanna leave that outside rim without it. And then I'm gonna stop right here, because here we have to make sure that we start going up. There has to be a breaking point where you're going to have your core, and for me it's going to be right here. So now I'm gonna go up, and that's where I'm going to put one of my biggest focal point elements. Now, if you want to, I wish I could sit here and talk to you all day long about balance, but that's why we do it on our private group. You guys know, that we do 8 videos a month on the private group, and 2 to 3 of them are live sessions where I get to answer your questions. I get to, but basically just chit chat with you, which we love. We're creating a party environment over there. And so I tell you everything, the reason why and all of that. And I'm sure you know at this point that I worked in the floral industry for over 10 years. And that's where I learned all of the tips and the tricks that I teach. All right, so like that. So here is our focal point. I'm gonna put a few more here on the inside. Once again, there's gotta be that core that you're going to emanate or radiate from. And so for me, it's right here. So this is what it looks like right now. We added some of that greenery. So I'm gonna save all of this greenery that I have left. Let me see. I'm gonna leave a few out. You know that I always like to leave a few out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring out this beautiful pick right here that I just absolutely love. And I went ahead and pre-picked it. And I'm gonna start once again from the bottom. And I'm going to go right here to go through all of that mesh. That's why I like to put a pick on it. So I'm gonna start right there, and then I'm gonna work myself up, moving my ribbon to make sure that I don't put any glue on it. Sometimes it is easy to just not be careful, because I get pretty excited working, especially when I'm working on wreaths, and I tend to not be careful. But when they are for the Etsy shop, you guys, you better believe that I'm paying attention to every single detail as I work. All right, so I'm gonna go right there. So as I was telling you earlier, so we taught that class and we had so much fun. When I started my design job, I did it by teaching in person. And so I told that story at the show that I just love doing it, because that's how I started designing in person. And when I get the opportunity to teach in person, I just absolutely love it. All right, so as you guys can see, all the way here goes all the way down. And then from here up, we're going to turn it up, and we're gonna start going up. And that's what's gonna give us that core that we are looking for. So I'm gonna start right here. That's gonna be the breakdown for my design to go up. You have to have a breaking point or a emanating point, like I said, in order to make it look cohesive. And the way we do that is by adding a focal point or a starting point. And see, that I love, because I went through the mesh, and that's gonna help it really stay right there. I'm gonna add one more up here on the top. I'm gonna add it right in here. Look at this, how pretty is that? Has all of this going down, all of this going up. And so now what I'm going to do, oh, that is pretty. I'm gonna save some of these for later again. I always like to save elements at the end to see where I might need someone once I stand it up. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab some of these beautiful magnolias. These are from David Christopher's. Once again, pre-picked them. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna cut them even shorter because I really want them to go down. So I'm gonna bend it a little bit, and I'm going to add a lot of glue to this magnolia, and I'm going to add it right here in the middle. That's going to be my focal point. Then I'm gonna grab another one, a smaller one, and I'm going to do kind of like a cluster of two. Make sure that you open them and you play with those petals. And I'm going to add another flower right here going down. And then I'm going to bring one more going up. And I'm gonna cut them short because I really want them to sit on the wreath flat. So I'm going to go over on this side. I'm gonna open up right here, and I'm going to add right there. So that's going to be our focal point right here, our magnolias. We wanna make sure that you fluff all of those ribbons like that. So now that I have my magnolias as a focal point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring some ornaments. So I'm gonna bring these ornaments over to this side. And you know what, I just found this cute little guy, so I'm gonna go ahead and add it. Because why not? I'm gonna add it maybe right here. Perfect. So now that I have my magnolias ready, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bring some ornaments, and I'm going to go to town with them. So I'm gonna put a lot of glue, and I'm going to open up right here, and I'm going to make one sit right there. I have two glittered, so I'm gonna add both glitter. I want it to be as shiny as possible. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this guy over to this side, and I'm gonna make it sit right here. And then also I have two shiny ones, and shiny ones, you guys, are my favorite. I just love the way they catch the light, and I am obsessed with shiny ornaments. I use them all year round. I use them for 4th of July. I use them for 4th of July, for Valentine's Day, and I ran out of glue. Always have your tools at the ready. I thought it was cute when I was at the show, you guys. Jameson was always making sure that I had glue sticks on my, he didn't know that I noticed, but I noticed that he was always making sure that I had glue sticks on my gun. I'm gonna lift up right here.
Ready to go.
Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. I can't even. All right, so then we have some of these ornaments right here, and I'm going to cluster a few of them. I'm gonna find a place where I can cluster a few closer to my other ornaments, because you know, the closer we put them together, the more they're going to show. So I'm going to go ahead and add right here, and lifting up whatever I have to lift up in order to make them work. Now they're small and you might not be able to see them right now, but once I stand it up, I promise you, you'll see all of these elements. And once again, clustering them, it means to get them close together to an existing element. And I'm gonna put one right here. And I'm working my way like a snake down. So that way I can continue to bring lots of texture to this wreath. So I'm gonna bring this one over here. And I think I'm gonna do one more on the bottom, and that will be all for this on the ornament department. Now, this is looking really good. However, there's two elements that I want to add. So obviously I'm not going to add this one anymore because I feel like we already added enough of this right here. So I'm gonna save it for another project. This one, I'm going to go at the end and see if I need it. But what I do need is some beautiful pick, like this right here, this fern from David Christopher's that I absolutely love because it's all bejeweled and glittered. And so I'm gonna add some right here. And I'm gonna start right here with this magnolia. So I'm gonna go right here. Once again, radiating, remember, from the middle one up, from the middle down. And we have to make sure that we do that because that's what's going to give you the balance on your beautiful wreaths. And who doesn't like to have a gorgeous, gorgeous wreath, right? So once again, just adding all the way through. Every year, you guys, I spend hundreds of dollars on this particular fern. I'm not ashamed to say it. It's my favorite. And I just think that it's so gorgeous. Okay, I'm gonna add one right here on the back. And I'm gonna continue to go all the way around, first on the outside, just to make sure that I balance this very well. You have to know how many you have, because that way you're gonna know how to distribute them. Oops, I'm gonna go right here. Look how pretty this is looking. I mean, come on. Is that not absolutely gorgeous? So now that we did the outside, what I'm going to do is do the inside. And what I mean by that is the outer rim and the inner part of it. So I'm gonna add one right here. And you want that peekaboo of glitter. When this catches the sun outside, I'm telling you, it's going to be so sparkly. I'm gonna go right here, lifting up my ribbons, like so. Remember, we always fluff those ribbons at the end. And I have a few that I'm going to add to the inside, like right here, and one going down. Remember, from the middle up, from the middle down. I'm gonna go right about here, like that. All right, so now that I have all of this, I'm gonna stop right here. Well, you know what? I have two left. What am I gonna do with two, right? Might as well just add them. Just be very selective. So I'm gonna add one right here to the very tip. And then I'm gonna save this one for when I stand it up, because I might need to fill a void. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of this flocked pine. And you guys, this also is from the wreath from David Christopher's. I'm almost running out of it, so I might have to buy another wreath. So what you want to do is make sure that you add a lot of glue to this guy. And then I'm going to add this right here. But this is gonna give it a sense of frost to it, which is what I'm looking for. We want to join those colors, which is the gold and the white on the cream on the poinsettias and the ribbon. And the way we do that is by adding some of this flocked item. And it's a pine, so it's gonna have that little brush that I just love. It looks like a bottle brush, and I just absolutely love that look. So I'm gonna add this guy right here on the top. And that added so much, but I have a few of these other ones right here. Now these I love, but look what I'm going to do. Out of one, I'm going to do two. So I'm gonna cut these two, and then this guy right here. What you can do to give yourself a stem is you go all the way around, all the way around, all the way around, until you cannot go around anymore. And then you pull out this part right here. And now you have yourself a shorter pick that we're going to use on the top to continue to add that white to your wreath, like that. And then these two right here, you can go on the rim inside and add this guy right here, like that, to continue to add. Let me add one more of those. So once again, we're gonna cut at the joint right here. This is too long for the wreath. So we're gonna cut, and then we're gonna grab a stem. We're gonna cut around, and then we're gonna spin around and just pull it out like that. So that's gonna leave you with a wire, and that wire is where you wanna put the glue. And so I'm gonna put this guy right here. Then I'm gonna grab the two, you can give them a bend, and then we're gonna add some glue to it. And we're going to go maybe right around here, like that. You know that the last step on any decorating job that I do is accent ribbon. And so for that, we're going to add some tails of accent ribbon to this wreath. And this, you guys, it's my favorite ribbon that I use this holiday season. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab a little tail, probably about 8 inches. I'm going to fold, and then I'm going to do a little loop like this. And what I'm going to do is just do single loops, but one tail longer than the other one. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna cut right here on a dovetail. Then I'm gonna grab a wire, and I'm going to wire this guy right here together and spin it around. So you're left with this beautiful loop and these two tails. So now you're gonna grab a stem, and I always like to keep some of the stems that I use from picks that I cut or flowers that I cut. And so I twist it around very, very tight until you're left with a little stem like that. And so I'm going to grab my glue, add lots of glue, and I'm going to make sure not to burn myself. And I'm going to go up here on the top first, I'm going to add this tail right here, and look at that. That just adds a lot of character. Make sure to push it in like this. So that just added an extra layer of loop. And so I'm going to go ahead and do it again. So let's do 4. I'm gonna cut at a dovetail. And for this particular one, I'm gonna give myself once again about, I want to say about 8 inches. And you twist and you pull and you twist again and you fluff that loop. And I'm gonna give myself yet another one like this. Grab a wire. This is my favorite step when decorating a tree or a wreath or a swag because it adds that extra loopy, I don't know if that's a word. Jameson, is that a word?
It works.
It works, okay. The extra loopy feel to it. And so we're going to go like this. I'm gonna add some glue to it. That glue is going to seal it into place. And so now I'm going to go maybe right here, lift up everything and add that loop. And look how pretty. I feel like I need one on the top. And once again, give myself a tail. This is part of my flyaway concept. You know, I'm always telling you that I don't do a design without flyaways. And the reason why I do that is because it gives you so much more movement. And so when you add extra tails to your design, whether it's a wreath, a swag, a garland, it really just adds that more character to it. Especially when it's an accent ribbon like this. This is such a beautiful ribbon. That's why it was my favorite ribbon of the season. It is from Shinoda Design Center, and I've used it in so many projects this year. And actually, I just bought a whole bunch of it more the last time we were there for the show. I think I grabbed about 4 rolls more before they ran out, because this also I'm gonna use for spring. On the spring, you know those gold rabbits? Well, gold ribbon for gold rabbits. I'm gonna add this guy right here, like that. Look how pretty. Okay, so we're gonna do one to the bottom, and I'm gonna use all the ribbon I have left, which is not much. I think it's gonna be just enough to make one more. So I'm gonna go like this, pull back, pinch, and pull back and pinch. And I'm gonna give myself a longer tail like that. Let me attach it first and then we'll adjust it. Because the bottom one, we want it to hang further down. And so now I'm going to attach to my little stem. And like I was telling you, this is part of my flyaways. Okay, so now I'm gonna dovetail because I feel like that's too long anyways. So I'm gonna dovetail a little bit shorter. You guys, how beautiful is this ribbon? It just catches the light so beautifully, and the wire on it is so beautiful. Look at that. The way that you play with it, that's the way it'll stay. And so this one I'm going to add going up. I'm gonna add glue. And I think I'm going to add it right in here. And just make sure that I push really good, like that. And look at that, that's gonna give me that. And so I'm gonna put this in the door real quick and show you the end result. Keep watching. All right, you guys, so here is the end result of this glam gorgeous wreath. Oh my God, it turned out so beautiful. I just love that layer of the last ribbon, this gold stripe. Look how beautiful that is. It is so three-dimensional, and these gorgeous David Christopher's magnolias just do an excellent job at interpreting the holiday season. I really hope that you enjoy this beautiful DIY, you give it a try, or check out my Etsy shop if you want to grab this one for your door. Oh my gosh, this wreath turned out so beautiful. It looks absolutely gorgeous on the door, and I really hope that you enjoyed it. But now I'm going to share with you a gorgeous centerpiece DIY that can be used for your entryway table, a buffet table, a coffee table, or to put on your table this holiday season. Let's take a look. All right, you guys, so we're going to create a beautiful tabletop centerpiece. This can be used for your dining room table. It also can be used for your coffee table. It is all about creating multi-purpose items this holiday season. And so I'm going to start with some beautiful greenery. And this also is that 3D printed. And as you guys can see, I always like to use these little buckets as my bases to hold all of my materials. So I went ahead and put some moss all the way around it. And I'm gonna start right here on the inside of my centerpiece, and that's going to determine how tall do I want this centerpiece to be? In this case, I want it to be a little taller. That's going to determine how high, and then we're going to determine how long the centerpiece is going to be by inserting on the sides all of this beautiful 3D printed greenery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go now, well, remember that what happens on the right happens on the left. And so also it's really good to have a lazy Susan. I want it to be long and low for maximum show, because at the end of the day, it's all about the show, right? I feel like the holidays is all about showing off our talents, our giving. To me, the holiday season is all about giving. I really do think that we were put in this earth to give as much as we could from ourselves. And so one of the ways that I like to do that is by hosting parties and gatherings with friends and family and showing them what I can do, not in an ego-based way, but I really want them to be able to see some of the talents that I was giving, you know, to share with them, because at the end of the day, like I said, it is all about giving. All right, so I'm gonna stop right here. So basically, I just went ahead and greened my container. I'm gonna put these two out here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring some of this beautiful champagne pick, and it's all about, once again, the glitz and the glam. I'm gonna go ahead and insert right here. Remember, what happens on the right happens on the left. We're gonna go over to this side. And the next one that I'm going to insert is going to be more like sideways like this. And I'm going to immediately go over to the other side, and I'm going to insert right here. It is about creating that balance, as you guys can see. I'm going to add one right here on the middle so that I can have, once again, define where my height is going to be. So now I'm going to go over to this side, and I'm going to insert one right here, and immediately I'm going to go over to the other side to create that balance, like I said. Look how pretty that is. I love it. I feel like we need to insert some at the end to elongate the shape. So the way we're going to do that is grabbing one and just inserting as much as we can to the foam like this. All right, I'm going to stop with that one. So that's the greenery. We have the champagne pick. And so now I'm going to bring the gold pick. And it's all about, you guys, mixing all of these beautiful foliages. So I'm going to start with this beautiful fern that is all glitter, which this is like my 4th year working with this beautiful glitter pick. I absolutely love it, from David Christopher's. And I'm sure you know at this point that our friends from David Christopher's has given us 10% off. If you go to their website, davidchristopher's.com, and if you add the code Ramon10, you will get 10% on your purchase on all of your Christmas decor, and actually all throughout the website, not just Christmas. I have become really good friends with Jen and David, and so I like to support their business that way. And in doing that, well, we support each other. All right, so I'm gonna start right here, and remember to give it that turn, because you want to create as much balance. And the way we do that is by spinning that centerpiece around. And so I'm gonna use all of this fern, because why not? So I'm gonna add right here, and then also I'm going to add right here. Look how pretty this is, you guys. It's long and low and so beautiful. So now I'm going to bring my ornaments and my magnolias. So I'm gonna put them over to this side. And I think I'm gonna start with the magnolia because it's the flower. So I'm gonna start right here. I want it to be the start of the show. So I'm gonna go ahead and put one right here facing to my left, and immediately I'm going to do the same opposite right here. And so I'm going to grab 2 more and add them towards this outside of my centerpiece, like this. One on my right, and then another one on my left over on this side, like that. And so that gave us the flowers all the way around on this beautiful centerpiece. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some ornaments, and the way I like to add them is by adding these hooks that I've created for ornaments. And so I just add 2 right here. Actually, I'm gonna add 3 like this, just by adding to the hook. And then I'm gonna grab this hook, and I'm going to insert these ornaments right here to the foam. And look, you guys, that just gives us that beautiful cluster of ornaments right here. So now I'm going to do another one, but I'm going to do it with this beautiful shiny one. Shiny ones are my favorite ones because they reflect the light so beautifully, and I just feel like they look more like the holidays than anything else. So I'm going to add 3 ornaments right here. I'm gonna close my hook, and then I'm gonna go upside down and grab it like a pencil, like this, and then I'm going to insert over on this side as tight as I can. Look how pretty that is. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some dangling down, and for that I have to grab a kind of a longer one, and so I'm going to grab 1, 2, and 3. So I'm gonna add 3, and then of course you have to be careful not to drop them. And then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna fold this guy like this so that I can insert right here to the side of my centerpiece like that. And look, that just gave us some dangling ornaments on one side. So I'm gonna do it one more time. I'm going to add 1, 2, and 3 ornaments. And I'm gonna close this, and then you wanna bend it like this so that you can insert to the side of your ornament onto the foam. And look at that, that just gives you some dangling ornaments. All right, you guys, so I am going to add a few more touches to this. I feel like I'm seeing what I need. So let me go get that real quick and I'll be right back. Keep watching. All right, you guys, so what I went ahead and got was some of this flocked cedar. I feel like what this needs is a little bit more snow on it. To tie in the bark container, what I'm going to is I'm going to add some flat cedar. Now this particular pick that I'm adding here is from David Christopher's, but this used to be a wreath that I took apart, and so I went ahead and just made picks out of it. And the way you do that is you just take that wreath apart, and then you give yourself some picks and you fluff them. You have to sometimes trim them to make sure that they look more like a pick, but I'm always telling you to look at items, you know, in different ways. How else can we use this wreath that I already have? If it has, like, I don't know if you know, but some of the wreaths really do have really good quality stems. And so the way that I want to use them is, like even this one right here, I could cut in half and do 2. I'm not gonna do that today, but in the future we might. And look at that, just adding that flocked item, it really does add that feel of holiday to it. So now also this wreath came with some of this brush pine, and so I'm gonna add one right here, and it's all about flocking that beautiful centerpiece. I'm gonna add one right here. Look how pretty that is. It just adds that feel of a snow theme onto a rather green arrangement. All right, let me see, where else do I want? I think I'm gonna add this guy right here. All right, so I'm going to give this a fluff. I'm gonna put it on the table and show you what it looks like. Keep watching. All right, you guys, so here is the end result on this gorgeous centerpiece on the bark container. I want to mention, like I said, those picks that are flocked from the wreath. They really just add that beautiful holiday feel to it. And I just love the way this looks right here with the beautiful ornaments. And how about the item that inspired all these beautiful magnolias? Isn't this just absolutely gorgeous? I really hope that you enjoy this beautiful DIY and that you will give it a try for your home. All right, you guys, well, I hope you enjoyed that beautiful centerpiece. Now, if you want to see more centerpieces, remember I just posted a video with all of the centerpieces for this season, and I'm going to link that down below so you can continue to watch more inspiration on how to create your beautiful centerpiece. But now I'm going to share with you how to create a spectacular lantern in this beautiful glim theme. Let's take a look. All right, you guys, so for this first DIY, what we're going to do is we're going to decorate a beautiful lantern with a swag on the top, and we're gonna get started. So I'm going to decorate this lantern in a champagne and gold combination. And for that, I'm going to start by doing 2 loop bows with this beautiful ribbon, and we're going to only do a few. We're going to add more ribbons, but I want to show you real quick. So you're gonna do 2 loops right here, and then we're going to grab a wire from our wire tool kit, and we're going to twist them like this. So I have 1 tail, and then I have 2 loops and a little tail. So what I'm going to is I'm going to grab a bristle right here, and it's worth mentioning that I've already attached this garland to the top of my lantern, and I'm going to leave on this side some longer tails. Let me grab my scissors over here. And so I'm gonna cut right here. Some of them might be 2 loops, some of them might be 1 loop, but what I'm going to do is save this for later. I also have this other ribbon right here, which is basically the same, and we're going to dovetail real quick. And I just want to take a second to thank you guys so much for watching this season. I'm having so much fun. And I want to also say thank you to all the people that came to the live design show at Shinoda Design Center a few weeks ago or a few days ago. I don't know when you'll be watching this, but we basically did a design show at Shinoda Design Center, and it was so much fun to meet some of you in person, to get to say hi, and to just, be there with you. We had a lot of fun. Me and Jameson had a lot of fun, and the people at Shinoda Design Center as well. So I just want to say thank you. And so basically what we did is we did a wreath, and we did a swag, and then we got to talking to so many of you about design and just saying hi. I love to have opportunities like that because we get to see you in person and put a face to the people that help us and supports us. All right, so I'm gonna start right here. I'm gonna stop right here. So I have these 3 loops on this particular ribbon, and thank God because I only have a little bit left. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab my second ribbon, and I'm going to do the same thing, but now I'm going to do 3 loop bows. So it's going to be this stripy ribbon, and I have to mention this ribbon, it's from At Home. You can find it at Home. You guys, At Home had a really great selection of ribbons this year, and I just absolutely love this beautiful stripy one. And the reason why we're doing 3 loop bows is because we want to add lots of texture to our lantern. So I'm going to do a dovetail right here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach in between all of my other ribbons. I'm going to do 2, and the smaller the loops, the more loops you can make. So the other ones were pretty large, and so we did 3, and so now we're going to do 2, and you want to split them like that. So now I'm gonna swivel to the other side, and I'm going to do the same thing right here. So I'm gonna grab my ribbon, and I'm going to dovetail, bringing up the tail to me. It is easier for me to go up like this, pinch and gather, twist, pinch and gather, and remember it's going to be 3 loops. And I'm always telling you that I don't like the loops to be identical, because I feel like if we do more layers, it's excuse the redundancy, it's more layer, right? And so if we do like symmetricals, and it doesn't have that layer effect, and what I love is the layer effect. So we're going to add this other guy right here, and once again, once we have it attached, we separate those tails, and we separate the all of this. Now you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another one right here, so that way there is a bigger bow on the top. That way this, if you were putting it outside, or if you're putting it somewhere where you can see a 360, it is finished. We want this to be finished, and we want it to look absolutely beautiful. So what we're going to do is do a 2 loop bow. I'm gonna do a 3 loop bow real quick, and I'm going to dovetail right here. Thumbs up if you guys have been enjoying this Christmas season. We've been having so much fun sharing all of these ideas and DIYs with you. I cannot believe it's almost November. This is our last October video. If you've been watching the season, then you know we've been doing many DIYs. See how that finished it over on that side. So this is our last DIY for November, and so we're gonna finish strong. All right, so I'm gonna get the next step ready, and I'll be right back to give you more ideas. Keep watching. All right, so the next step is going to be to add some ornament clusters, and for that I'm going to grab some pretty ornaments, and I'm going to use 2 sizes. So I'm gonna grab this little striped one and a large one, and I'm going to go right here, and we're going to divide all of our ornaments throughout. So I'm gonna put one right here, and then you can start with the small one, you can start with the big one, it really doesn't matter. What matters is that we're going to distribute them evenly all throughout our swag on top of our lantern. Now you guys, I cannot wait to read your comments, and let me know if you've been watching this season, what has been your favorite DIY that we've done. I have to tell you that mine, let me think for a second. Mine has been maybe the crystals tree that we did. Even though I'm going to be honest with you, that really didn't show as much as I wanted it to show, because we did that at Shinoda Design Center, and over there, when we work over there, it really is for display, so we have to basically make it work, where I have this idea where I decorate like that with all greenery, let's say magnolia foliages, pines, and all kinds of other things. But it would have to be in a house setting. So maybe when we move, we will have to do that one first. Right, so I'm gonna add one right here. See how I'm distributing all these ornaments all throughout the lantern? And I just realized that I put two right here that are glittered, and I don't like the fact that they're together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one out, and then I'm going to add maybe a shiny one. So I'm going to add this shiny, and then I'm going to add another one of these. You know, for this one I'm going to put two. Really, there's no limit to what you can do when you get creative, and that is one of the things that I love to do when I'm teaching, to let people know that basically there is no limit, that you can do as much or as little as you like when you are designing and decorating. I always say more is more, and less is a bore. And I tell a story at the design show the other day where I worked at a furniture store, and they finally allowed me to do one of the shows. And the lady who was in charge told me that if she asked if I didn't know that less was more, and I was like, nope, less is less and more is more. And so I just added even more because I have more of a maximalist approach, and I just love maximalism. So that's what I like. All right, so I'm gonna add another one right here because this is going to be our last one. So I'm gonna go like that, and this is gonna go right here in the back. And we're just going to add, now like I said, this would be so pretty outside, but it also can be for a buffet table, an entryway table, all kinds of areas in the home where you can add this guy right here. All right, so far the ornaments are in, the ribbons are in. This particular loop I think is too long, so I'm gonna fluff it up a little bit, and then I'm going to re-dovetail this right here because I felt like that was just way too out of control. All right, you guys, so this is the ornaments. Now I'm going to get the picks, the stems ready, and I'll be right back with you. Keep watching. I'm sure you know that when I'm decorating a Christmas tree, I have a 4-step process which indicates ribbons first, ornaments second, stems, florals, and picks third, and then at the end we add an accent ribbon. Well, we're going to use the same approach with this. We first added all of the ribbons, then we added the ornaments, and so now what we're going to do is we're going to bring in some of the picks, stems, and florals to give it life. Remember that this particular swag, it's basically just to give us some place to attach to, and so now what we're going to do is we're going to start bringing in the greenery to give it lots of texture. And for that, what I'm going to do is bring this beautiful printed pine that I am obsessed with, and what you need to do is go all the way around. See how this one just ended right here? And so I'm gonna work all the way up. Some of them are longer, some of them are shorter. I like them shorter, to be honest. I think that they just add a lot more texture when they're shorter. And then also we're going to add other types. So what you want to do is just add a little bit of glue to this, and we're going to go all the way around like this. See how that's bringing out the greenery again? I'm gonna go over to the other side and start right here. I'm gonna start by dovetailing this guy again. Sometimes, like I say, they're too long and they just need to be a little peekaboo ribbon, not so much of it. But I'm gonna do the exact same thing. So I'm gonna grab some of this greenery and I'm gonna start right here on the bottom like that. We're going to end with one of those printed pines. And the reason why I like to say it's printed is because it looks, to me, it looks like it's a 3D print, one of those machines that now they have. It looks like somebody just copied the real thing because it looks so natural, and I just love, love, love it. All right, so I'm gonna go right here. Then remember to zigzag in and out, in and out. And some of them are longer, so I'm gonna cut them a little bit shorter. Like I said, I want them to be short for display purposes. This is going to go inside the house, so I want them to be not as extravagant. Even though more is more, sometimes we do have to learn about balance, and the way we balance our items is by not having it too wild and crazy. Overloaded, sure, but just not too wild and crazy. So we want to bring them back up like this. And I'm gonna go right here to the back. Remember that it's going to be seen all the way around. So what we want is to be sure that it has all of these items all throughout. So I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna add one right here, like this. And then of course some to the top. And once again, if they're too long, just be sure to cut them a little bit shorter. Like this one, I feel like it is too long, so I'm gonna cut right here. You guys, I really truly enjoy sharing all of these ideas with you this holiday season, and I really hope that you enjoyed it this year as much as I did. Look at that one on the top right here. Isn't that pretty? All right, so then I'm gonna cut this guy right here. I'm gonna do 2. Actually, I'm gonna do 3. I'm gonna cut right here. Sometimes they're really hard to cut, sometimes they're easy, but nonetheless, it doesn't matter. Like, I just like to cut a little bit out. I'm gonna add one right here, like this, standing up, because we want it to fin out like this. We wanted to have that, like that, going around motion right here. I feel like I need one, like so. See, it's all about including that greenery between the ornaments. And that just adds so much texture. All right, I'm gonna stop right here with this one. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring some of this glitter flyaway from David Christopher's, and I'm going to add right here. I'm gonna start once again, I'm gonna start right here on the bottom by adding right here. And this is what's going to bring all of that glitz and all of that glamour into our swag for our lantern. And you guys, this hot glue gun is leaving so many of these little strands, but no problem, we're going to correct that. We're gonna go right here. Look how pretty that is. It's all about zigzagging your swag, going in and out, in and out. And I think this is looking so pretty, so festive. To me, there's nothing prettier than like gold for the holidays. I mean, I love me a traditional look for sure, but gold to me is like, maybe because I'm Hispanic, we just love gold. I told a story at the show the other day how I had my bangles, my gold bangles, and when I was a little kid, I just love it when my aunts wore all of that gold. I was like, oh, it's so pretty. Look at that. Okay, so we're gonna go right here on the front. We wanna make sure that the front looks good. So I'm gonna add some glue. Once again, it's all about balancing your lantern and making sure that we have the same element all throughout the design. I'm gonna add this guy right here. And so then of course I'm going to add some towards the top because it has to once again fan out. So we want to make sure that we have enough to cover all of that. So I'm gonna go right here. And then I'm gonna do a few on the back and on the front. And remember to always give them that little bit of a twist so that way when the light catches, it will be all beautiful. I'm gonna go right here like that. And one more, let me see. Yes, look how pretty that is. Let me see, I need one right over on this side. Once again, this is a 360 design, so it has to have these elements all throughout. So I'm gonna put it right in here. All right, so that's what it's looking like so far. I have one last element that I'm going to add to this design. I'm gonna get it and I'll be right back to give you even more ideas. Keep watching. Okay, so for our last element, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of these gigantic magnolias to my design. These, you guys, are from David Christopher's and they come on a beautiful stem. So what you have to do is basically just give them a little bit of a fluff, play with that wire so the magnolia really opens up. And I just absolutely love it. It has a gold center and it looks so pretty. So I'm gonna start with one right here. Then I'm gonna go over to this side and I'm gonna add another one. Remember, what happens on the right happens on the left. You have to know how many you have because we have to distribute them throughout the design. So I have 4, so I'm gonna put one right here and then I'm going to add another one right over on this side right here. I went ahead and put a pick on them so that way they stay where I want them. And so I'm going to add the last magnolia over on this side, and it's going to look elegant and beautiful and just very festive. Magnolia is one of my favorite flowers, of course poinsettia being my favorite, but look how pretty that is. That just added so much to this design. And so the last thing I'm going to add is going to be this last pick that I have, which is absolutely beautiful. It's shiny, it's very, very glittery, and so I'm going to go right here like that, and I'm going to work my way all the way out like this, adding some of this beautiful pick all the way down. Look at that. It's just going to add so much glitz and glam, And we're going to fill in all of those little spots that otherwise would have been empty without this. And I just went ahead and pre-pick it. A lot of people might ask, what does that mean? I put a steel pick on it with my steel pick machine, as you guys can see right here. The reason why I'm not gluing this is because I want them to be removable for other projects in the near future. You know, sometimes you have to be careful what you have available for your projects. Some of them can be glued on, some of them cannot, and so this is one of the ones that I want to be able to save, perhaps for a Christmas tree in the future or for other elements. And so basically I just put a steel pick on it, and then I go to town with it. And that steel pick, what it's going to do is going to latch on to some of the elements right here, and is going to help it really latch in and not come up. So that's why I say you have to be careful what you glue and what you don't, according to what you want to be able to use and reuse. All right, so I'm gonna continue going all the way around, adding this beautiful pick. Look at that, look how pretty this is. This is lavish and grand and just absolutely gorgeous. And that's the way that I wanted it. So I'm gonna finish right here. I'm gonna put a candle in the inside of it, and I'll be right back to show you the end result. Keep watching. All right, you guys, so here is the end result of this beautiful swag on the lantern here in the living room. And I just love the way this looks. It adds a lot of impact. The top is absolutely beautiful. And the magnolias, along with all of the ornaments and picks and ribbons, really do add exquisite holiday cheer to this space. And I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to leave a comment down below and let me know what part of all of this was your favorite when decorating a beautiful lantern DIY. Okay everyone, so to decorate this beautiful Christmas tree on a modern theme in silver and gold, remember the first thing we have to do is fluff our tree. And this one is absolutely beautiful. I love all the flocking on it, and however it does have to be fluffed because you want it to be as pointy as possible. Now the other thing is you have to have your tools at the ready. For this tree I'm going to use my scissors and my wire cutters, and then also I have my selection of ribbons right here. And what I want to explain real quick is that I'm going to use a silver and a gold theme, and I chose basically the same ribbon in those two tones. And then also I chose some accent ribbons that are more patterned or textured to give it a lot of depth and dimension. Now the other thing I have right here is my wires that I already cut for all of my ornament clusters that we'll be doing. All right, so now that that's said and done, remember to fluff your tree and have your tools at the ready. I'm going to start with the gold ribbon. This is going to be super fun. And let me get my scissors out because I thought it'd be easier to do it without them. But remember, you have to just drop it on the floor and start your ribbon. Now this is going to be kind of like a half a swirl. So I'm going to start right here on the top, and I'm going to move down that way. So what I want to do is I'm going to cut this first ribbon at a diagonal like this, because the wider the ribbon is, you don't have to really dovetail it, as you can see. And I'm going to do maybe a 2-loop bow. I'm going to twist it. And remember to have all your wires here at the ready, so that way you don't have to like be digging for them or cutting them or just taking a lot of time. This is going to be super fun. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start with this guy right here on the top, and because I want it to swirl, I'm going to put it right here on the side. And now I'm going to grab a bristle and I'm going to twist it in, and then we'll give it a little fluff. We're going to come here and I'm going to give it a big loop. I'm going to grab a bristle and I'm just going to twist it in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat myself right here. And what I like about these trees, the bristles are really firm and sturdy. So I'm thinking about getting one of these trees for myself just because it is so beautiful. I'm gonna stop right here. So I have 2 loops. Actually, I'm gonna do one more. You probably won't see it until the end, but that way it looks finished. All right, so there's 2. So now I'm gonna grab my scissors. And sorry if I give you my back at any point, but I have to get all the way here on the back. So now what I'm going to do, remember this is going to be a swirl around the tree. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch one more time, and now I'm going to do just one single loop because I want to repeat myself so that it looks like a wider, more prominent swirl. So I'm going to come here and put it right here at the joint. I'm going to grab and twist. So now I'm going to have an extra loop right here, and so that's going to allow me to cover more of the girth of the tree with the gold ribbon. And so remember to go basically backwards and just give your ribbon a big loop because we want it to really show. So I'm gonna cut right here and I'm gonna cut on a diagonal. I'm gonna put that on the floor for now because now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna come in with my silver ribbon that is basically the same mesh. This is a very affordable ribbon, you guys. Let me see if I can see a price right here. It doesn't, but it's under $15 for this whole roll, and you will see how it will really cover a lot of the tree and just make a big statement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the exact same thing. 2 big bows. Remember, we want them to show, and twist right here. I was wanting to do something different. I feel like we've done a lot of the same the past few years. So for this year, we wanted to bring some more new different ideas to you to help you create a beautiful Christmas. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it right here and give it a twist. And now we're gonna fluff like this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna follow that pattern to this side. So I'm gonna give it a big loop right here, and then I'm gonna follow right here and just folding one of those bristles. You're gonna start creating this beautiful pattern that is going to swirl around all of your Christmas tree right here. Like this, then you can fluff. So now I'm gonna grab my scissors one more time and cut right here at a diagonal, leaving a long tail. It is very important that you leave a long tail so that it looks finished. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do it one more time. So give it about a 5-inch tail. And now what I'm gonna do is just one single loop. We want to repeat everything that we just did with the gold. We wanna repeat it with the silver. So I'm gonna grab a wire, pull back. This is the best technique to attach to your Christmas tree because it gives you this wire that you can put it anywhere. So remember, we're gonna go close to the right here. So I'm gonna put it right here. So it looks like it came from this joint right here. So it's gonna give you an extra loop. And so now I'm going to pinch right here, find a place like that, and continue to swirl like this, all the way down if you must. All right, so we are done with the mesh ribbon, and as you can see, it's getting a swirl pattern that goes to the side. Now the next step is going to be adding a more substantial ribbon that has a little bit more, it's a smaller width, but it has more blocking on it. And so we're gonna use a gold and a silver, and then we're gonna use a pattern on gold and silver, but we're gonna leave those till we are completely done with the tree, and it's just going to be an accent. So I'm gonna start with the gold, and what I'm going to do is I'm gonna drop it on the floor like I did the other one, because it is easier than having to worry about you know, keeping the roll, because you're gonna use most of it anyway. So we're gonna give it a cut in the diagonal, and for this particular one, what we're going to do so it really shows, I'm gonna give him 2 loops to all of them. So I'm gonna stop right here, and actually, you know what, we're gonna do 3. So they really show. How pretty is this going to be, you guys? There's going to be so many ornaments and ribbons, and I really do think you're going to enjoy this modern silver and gold look for Christmas. So I'm gonna start right here on the top. I'm gonna start in the very top, and this is creating our topper right here. So I'm gonna start right here, and I'm gonna do a little loop like this, fluff, another little loop like this. And what we're going to do is just 1/3 one, and remember to go with the pattern that you're creating right here on your tree. So you have to follow that shape, and then just fold that right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm gonna cut right here, and I'm gonna move on to the next step. So I'm gonna cut right here, give it a little fluff. Remember, we always fluff all of our ribbons towards the end because it's just easier that way. All right, so I'm gonna do one, basically just go under, gather, pinch, fluff, under, gather, pinch, fluff. Grab a little wire. It's so essential that you guys have all of those tools at the ready, so that way you're not, where's my scissors, which has happened to me before, I'm not gonna lie. All right, so now I'm gonna go right here, and I grab this bristle, and then I'm gonna tie, and look how it looks like it just connected, and it looks like it grew out of it. So remember to go to this side, and we're gonna do a loop right here. Then I'm gonna move over, give it about 8 inches, create another loop, and then right here, and then just bend to secure, like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna come and do another one right here and just bend, secure, and then we're gonna cut. Sorry if I'm disappearing from your screen, but we're trying to keep that swirl and I have to go sometimes all the way on the back. So I'm gonna do one more time. So pinch. How are you doing, by the way? Are you enjoying this Christmas season? I cannot wait to read your comments. So let me comment down below and let me know which project has been your favorite. And actually, how did you find Ramon at home? What were you looking for? Were you looking for Christmas, fall? I just want to know how you find this channel. And I'm just so glad that you're here. I'm so thankful for you to stop and watch these videos. All right, so I'm going to go right here in the back now. I'm going to go right here on the top one more time. And I'm going to pinch and then swirl. Remember, we'll fluff our ribbons. I cannot get tired of telling you that, because if you stop and fluff your ribbons as you go, it's gonna take you way longer. So I'm gonna go right here, do a loop, and then just pinch like that. I'm gonna do another one over here and pinch. And so now I'm gonna cut right here. Let's see, where are we at? That's looking really good. It's really filling out. I feel like there's a void right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do a 3-loop bow. This is about filling as much as you can from your tree. So I'm gonna do a 3-loop bow right here. So it looks like an accent. I'm gonna grab one of my wires that I have at the ready, of course. And then I'm going to pinch right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bring this ribbon here and basically put it on the top like this, and remember to swirl that wire into your bristle. And then I'm just gonna do one loop right here, and then I'm gonna cut on a diagonal. I just want to take a second to mention how beautiful this ribbon is, you guys. It looks like liquid metal, and it really starts to cover some of those buoys that the mesh did not. The mesh is just to give you that glitter with the lights and the glisten, and this is to cover a little bit more of the tree, and it's starting to look really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right here. I'll show you one real quick, and then I'm going to speed it up so you guys can see what's next. But just for the purpose of the video and for you to learn, so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do right here, I'm gonna grab this bristle right here, I'm going to twist into it, and I'm gonna fluff a little bit, but we'll be back to that. And then remember to follow this pattern that you're doing or you're creating, which is this swirl. We want it to really be a dividing factor right here. And to do that, we have to go back in with this more solid ribbon to create, I'm gonna cross rail here, to create that division between colors. All right, if you leave it just with the shear, you won't be able to see it. So to create this effect, you have to go ahead and do a solid one, so that way it looks divided all throughout. And you want to do that all the way to the bottom, so that way there is a clear indication that is doing that pattern into your Christmas tree. So I'm going to cut right here, and so I'm going to continue to do this all the way around, and I'll be right back. All right, so at this point we've finished with the ribbon, and as you guys can see more of a clear indication now of what we're doing. I'm sure you were lost there for a second. It's like, what is Ramon doing? But now what we're going to do is we're going to add some ornaments, and for that I'm gonna start with these big ones, and I wanna show you a trick real quick. So I lost the cap of this one, and what I did, I just grabbed a wire and I twirled it around and zipped it together with the wire to attach it. And I'm gonna start right here on the bottom. So I want it to be visible. So I'm gonna start right here. I'm kinda gonna go in, and then I'm gonna grab a bristle on the inside, and I'm gonna swirl that wire in, and that ornament is gonna stay right there. So then for the next ones that they do have a cap, what you need to do is grab your wire and go in through this hole on the cap, and then twirl it around a little bit to make it stay. So now I'm gonna remember to do a zigzag motion. If you guys have not seen the beautiful Christmas tree that we did with the roses and all the florals, I'm going to link it down below and somewhere on the screen so you can see it, because it was really absolutely stunning. And I explained some of this zigzag motion patterning on your Christmas tree with these big ornaments. These big ornaments are basically just to fill in some of the bigger holes here on the tree, and I'm gonna do one right here. So I'm gonna come, let me see, I'm gonna come right here because I want it kind of to stick out. Yeah, I want it to stick out right here, but I'm going to open some. So I just basically want you to see it on the side. I'm gonna grab a bristle and then just pull it in, leave it like that. Okay, so to add the last one, I wanted to go a little bit more above. And remember that we're talking about a zigzag pattern right here, but I also wanted to fill in some of my trees. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna dig in here and I'm gonna pull it as far in as I can into the tree, so it kind of keeps the shape of the tree, but you can still see some of the ornament right there. And then I'm gonna grab one of these bristles and I'm gonna pull on it and just twist a few times so that it will stay. And these ribbons and all the picks and the florals will help me disguise some of that as we move on. All right, so the next one that I'm going to do is going to be a gold, but it's more of a matte color. But for this particular one, you guys know, I'm kind of known for the ornament clusters. So now that you know how we make these ornament clusters, so you're gonna create some with different patterns and textures of ornaments. So I'm gonna do 3, but actually I want them to be all different. So I'm gonna grab this one right here. I'm gonna pull them all through the wire like I showed you in the video, and now you have these 3 ornaments, and I'm gonna start filling in some of the gaps like right here, and I'm gonna make sure that I pull really tight in to kind of create depth and dimension like that. I'm gonna grab one right here and twist it, and look, it all stay right there, it all fill in the gap, and it's starting to create that really full look that I want, and I'm super excited. Let me show you one more time. I'm gonna take it right here and then just basically bend it so you have a longer wire. And now what you need to do is you need to introduce some of these ornaments, one of each, to create more texture. And so now I'm gonna put this one towards the top because I want it to really fill in right here. So I'm gonna add this one, put it right here so you can see it on the side. And as you guys can see, it's starting to fill in the gold side. And remember, we're gonna fluff all of these ribbons towards the end. But look how beautiful it's looking. So I'm gonna do one right here to show you one more time. This is so much fun, you guys. I really hope that you are enjoying this video and learning a few tricks on how to create a beautiful Christmas tree. You and your family deserve to have a gorgeous Christmas tree this season. And I just hope that you are learning a few tricks to do that for you and your family and to wow your friends and your jealous stepsister. All right, so I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna put this one right here. I'm gonna make sure that it goes all the way in like that. We'll fluff these ribbons and see how it's filling out the gold side. So now I'm gonna do the same on the silver side. I'll be right back. Keep watching. Okay, so now I'm going to repeat on the other side with the silver ones. And what I want to do is just start right here, and you kind of need to step back and see where do I need that big ornament to fill in a hole. And I feel like this one's going to be right here. And you have to maneuver through the ribbons just to get to a bristle here on the back to kind of pull back. And then with both hands, just swirl that wire into your tree. And look at that. Voila. So now I'm going to do one more. This is super easy, and it really is creating that beautiful look that I wanted to show you guys this time. So now I'm gonna do one right here on the side, and remember to kind of fill in that gap too. And I have another one that I'm going to use, and I'm gonna bring it a little further up to make sure that I'm filling in all of these gaps. So let's see, I want to add it maybe right about here by this bow. So I'm gonna push it in as much as I can, then grab that bristle and twist, and like that. Okay, so now I have my silver ones, and what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab one of these bit larger ones, and I'm gonna introduce the wire. This is very repetitive, you guys. Sorry if I'm boring you, but it really is so fun to watch the whole process. It is one of my favorite things to do this time of the year, just watch how others decorate their Christmas trees. And I do want to mention that remember to have different patterns and textures. You see right here a big shiny one, a medium matte, and then this really beautiful silver with the sequins that I absolutely adore. And so now what we're going to do is I'm going to look for a gap right here. I'm going to move my ribbon, and I'm going to introduce this guy right here to kind of start filling in. See those gaps? So now I'm going to do, I feel like there's a void right here. I'm going to do yet another one right there. And there's going to be some picks and florals that is going to really throw over the edge this look. And I really do think you're going to enjoy it. But before we do that, we have to finish our clusters. All right, let's see. So I feel like this one could go right here. And I'm going to stick my hand here through the ribbons and pull really tight. And I'm gonna go and grab one of those bristles in the back. And remember, look how my hands are all the way in the tree, just to make sure that I attach that and it doesn't go anywhere. And remember, these ribbons, I don't get tired of telling you, we're gonna fluff them at the end, just to make sure you know they're not gonna look like that. All right, so now I'm gonna do a set of 2. Actually, I'm gonna change that because that just fell out. So I'm gonna grab this guy right here, pull and introduce one of these sequin ones. Now, if you're asking why are the tags here, it's because I'm working at Shinoda Design Center. They have allowed us to come and do some videos for you guys. So they basically sell this product. Number 1, if you see anything you like, be sure to give them a call. And number 2, that's why the tags are staying, because they have to sell them. So I'm gonna introduce this one right here that has already a wire. And then I need my glasses. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, oh my goodness, you guys, I need my glasses. There you go. And I'm gonna fill in somewhere here on the bottom to make sure that your color goes all the way from the top to the bottom. All right, you guys, so it's time to recap. So the very first thing that we did is we fluffed our tree, of course. We added the ribbon going in a circular motion or twirl motion. And then we added the big ornaments and clusters of ornaments on both sides, on the silver and the gold. And so now the step has come to add our poinsettias, and I have chosen the exact same flower but in different tones of silver and gold. But remember, we always start with only one flower at a time, so that way we know what gaps we are filling in. It is very important to have a filled in gap, and then also it's very as equal as important it is to fluff your poinsettias. These are pretty full, they're super long, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend it in half and I'm going to start adding and kind of covering some of those gaps, as you guys can see. And remember to go all the way from the top. So I'm gonna start right here on the top and I'm gonna work my way down to the bottom. You need about, I wanna say 6 to 8 poinsettias on each color to fill in, but remember to fluff them really good. So this one I'm gonna leave long like this because I want it to go down, and I'm gonna put right here on the silver side, and we're gonna make sure that it goes all the way down like that. So we're gonna make a zigzag motion or pattern. I like to call it pattern. I don't know why I continue to call it motion, but it's just a pattern. And remember to fluff all of these poinsettias. So I'm gonna move over to this side. Remember, a zigzag motion right here. I'm gonna fill in this gap, leaving this poinsettia right here. And so now I'm gonna move over to the front one more time. This one I am going to bend in half. I'm just gonna go ahead and add it right here. Actually, I'm gonna bend it in a third because in half is poking out. There you go. So now we're gonna put this guy right here, making sure it protrudes forward. So one more time, we're going to add this poinsettia. Remember, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. About 7 of them. So now I'm gonna move over to this side. I'm gonna add this guy right here. And what bending and also does is like it creates a hook. So you can put it all the way in and then stick out a little bit. I'll show you in a second. That way it will hang on to the tree. So basically you just go right here. Now because I put this one right here, I have to move over this way. So you go all the way in and then you pull out and you hang on to the tree right there. And then I'm gonna add the last one to the very bottom, but not without fluffing all of these guys, because when they come out of the box, they come very flat. So you wanna make sure you're getting some character. Take your time to attach every single wire. And I'm gonna bend this guy right here. So now I'm gonna come over to, let me actually go to the front and see where do I want it. I think I want it over here in this cluster, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick it right here. Perfect. See how that's starting to fill in? So now I'm gonna do the exact same thing with a gold poinsettia, and we're gonna start, remember, from the top. This looks like a leather, like a gold leather, and it's so beautiful. I'm gonna start up here. I'm gonna give it a little curvature so it latches on. I'm gonna start right here. Look how pretty that is. Wow, that is turning out so beautiful. I'm so glad that we're doing this. Idea has been in my head for quite a while. You know, that is one thing, that if something's in your head, just get it out, give it a try. The worst thing that can happen is that, you know, you have to go out and buy some items, but hey, it's the holidays, you guys. We have to do it, because if we don't do it right now, we're gonna have that idea in our minds for the rest of the year, like this tree has lived in my mind for the rest of the year. Okay, so now like this, I'm gonna put one right here. So I'm gonna fluff. This is turning out so beautiful. I cannot wait for you guys to see the end. We have a few more poinsettias in the gold. I'm gonna add those and be back to give you one last step. Keep watching. Okay, so now that we're done with our poinsettias and it's filling up our Christmas tree very beautifully, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add some magnolia to it. And I chose this almost like a gunpowder gray because I figured that it would be a really good contrast. And then also this gold one, which is more of champagne. You have to have there some texture to divide the colors. They serve kind of as a highlighter, but let me show you what I mean. I'm gonna start with the silver one because it is a darker silver. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do the same thing that I did. I'm gonna look for holes at this point, and then I'm just gonna go down on the tree. And look what that does. It just adds a different kind of gray and it helps you highlight the other color. And at this point it's getting really tight in here. So I'm gonna have to move some of those ribbons and keep pushing forward into my tree in the shape that we're going for, which is going to be this swirl motion. I'm gonna add one right here to divide the gold and the gray, and then I move over to this side and I'm gonna add yet another one. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these magnolias. And 5. I think 5 will do because I just wanted to kind of separate all of the gray. So I think this looks beautiful. But this one I'm gonna add all the way here on the bottom. I don't know if you guys are being able to see it right now, but you will be able to see it when I give you a pan of the tree. All right, so now I'm gonna add this gold, or more like a champagne magnolia. Let me grab all of them. This champagne magnolia is going to serve as the same highlighter for your tree. So I'm gonna start up here on the top. This one has a short stem, so it should be really easy to insert. And then I'm gonna look for holes like right here. So I'm gonna add one right here, making sure that it stays where I place it. Just divide them all throughout the tree to make sure that they add that texture. We're looking for texture at this point. Let me see, I'm gonna add one right here. And actually I'm gonna use this wire right here that I see that is hanging out to kind of attach it. Oh my God, it's looking so good. Okay, so now I have to move over to this side, and I think I'm gonna add this one right here next to this. Let me see, where I can see a hole on this tree. Oh, right here. I'm gonna flip this guy, move my ribbon. I'm going to insert this magnolia. How beautiful is this, you guys? It's looking so good. So now I'm gonna add the last item and I'll be right back with you. All right, well, the last item I'm gonna add to this Christmas tree is going to be our flyaways or our stems. I have chosen this black pewter gray as the other magnolia. I thought they would be really good with it. And then also this different gold. It's all about getting the textures right and getting different textures in the same color scheme to create that beautiful pattern onto your Christmas tree. So I'm gonna start with gray ones, and remember to just give them a little fluff. Look how much bigger it gets if you just give it that little fluff. It takes a second to go from flat to alive, and I really do recommend to follow that step. For this particular step, I'm gonna start right here on the bottom. So I'm gonna go right here where this ornament is, and I'm gonna insert one. I have one. I'm gonna count them in a second. 2. I'm gonna add this guy right here. Remember, this is what's gonna give it the depth that you need into the tree, and it's gonna make everything else bounce because it's going to give it dimension. Your eye is gonna travel all throughout the tree. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move over to this side. Remember to keeping that zigzag motion or pattern into your tree. So one here, one here, one here, one to the left. What happens on the left happens on the right, and what goes up must come down. All right, so I'm gonna add one more right here. I'm gonna now right here on the top, and that one's gonna have to come upside down. Remember, whatever goes on the top needs to be upside down so it gives you that point at the end. So I'm gonna add this guy right here, making sure that it latches on so it stays. We don't want it to come crashing down on us in the middle of our Christmas dinner. And look how beautiful that looks. I think I'm gonna add the last one over on this side to create that tree shape and to continue our pattern. So I'm gonna do this one right here. Okay, you guys, before I let you go, I wanna give you one last pointer, and that is to create that really good divisive line. What you need to do is make sure that you have some touches like this gold right here that really do make that line very firm. Like you can see right here, I could use a gold one right here because I wanna make sure that you see that line really good So I feel like I need another one right here. You want to grab a gold that is very, very prominent. And as you can see, that gave it that line. And what I want to do now is move on a few inches to the other side, and I want to do the same thing with the silver. So basically all you have to do is add a few silver stems. They don't have to be very long, but you want them to be very, very silver and very, very gold. So that way it does create that line going down all throughout the tree. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fluff these ribbons and show you the end result. Keep watching. All right, so step number one is going to be to prep our container. And for that, I'm gonna go ahead and do a grid. So what you wanna do is you wanna grab some of this clear florist tape, and using your scissors, you wanna do a grid on this container. So basically what you wanna do, I'm gonna do a 3-point grid, which means I'm going to do 3 tapes going to one side. And this is a very, very important step. And then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do 3 more going to the other side, like this. And like I said, this tape is a wet florist tape, and it is basically to be able to tape into wet surfaces like your containers like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and do 3 like that. And then to secure everything, what you need to do is you need to do 1 going all the way around, that is going to grab all those tapes and is going to really secure it in place like this. Once you went around 1 time, you want to cut your tape right here, and you always want to bend that little tape end so that way it doesn't stick to the tape and you're not looking for it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some water in my container. And like I mentioned, this has that little packet of floral food that comes in your flowers. You can ask your florist for one as well. And I think that will be just plenty of water for my containers, because as you add stems, the water level will rise. So I'm gonna put this right here to the side. Now I'm gonna get my flowers ready and I'll be right back with you. All right, so I'm gonna start with this beautiful eucalyptus, you guys. And I just love the shape this eucalyptus gives to my floral arrangements. And what you need to do is you need to peel the bottom of your stem that is going to go in the water, because if you don't, what happens is that the leaves will create bacteria and it will make your flowers not last as long. So you want to always, like you can see, clear that bottom, so the stems, whether it's your flowers or it is your greenery, you always want to clear that stem so it doesn't create bacteria and kills your flowers. So you want to make sure that you take that extra step. And what I'm going to do is, as I insert some of this eucalyptus, I'm gonna start spinning my bouquet around, because if you've been following the channel, you know that that is very important for balance. Okay, so now that I have all of my greenery on place and I added some of this cedar, and it is fake. That's one other thing that I want to share with you. If you don't have any of these fresh greeneries, you can always mix the fresh with the faux and nobody will know, but just make sure that you tuck it in. But what I want with this is to barely touch the table when it sits on the table. So the first flower I'm going to add is going to be some hydrangea, because it's going to cover most of the surface of my container. So basically you want to give your hydrangea a fresh cut, and I'm gonna tuck 2 of them in opposite to each other. So I'm gonna add one right here like this, and I'm only gonna use 2. I'm gonna save that one for another bouquet. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this one right here, like I said, opposite to this one right here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert some of this beautiful accent flower, and look how dainty this is. So basically you need to cut again, make sure that you clear this container, the stem, the container. That's too funny. Thumbs up, you guys. At this point of the season, I'm like, I don't even know what I'm saying. I don't know what day it is. All I know is that we have a home tour to shoot, and I'm trying to get it all situated and ready. So once again, just cut your stem and then clear the stem before you insert into your container. This is such a really beautiful accent flower because it really just adds that little pop of white, and it extends the shape of your floral. So what you want to do is clear the stem as far as you're going to insert, and then you insert right here. And always use those little, what we call the daughters, that come attached to the floral. Make sure that you add the daughters into your bouquet. I'm gonna give it a little spin so that I can insert some on this side. How fun is this, you guys? I love having fresh flowers in my house for the holidays because it really just elevates the look of your home. It makes it look just more gorgeous, and I just love them. I love white. White is my favorite flower. Any white flower I just love because I think they just add so much elegance. Whether it's a wedding, whether it's a celebration of life, white flowers will always do the trick. You can always mix it with any other colors. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of these roses, and be careful because some of these roses do have thorns. I learned the hard way as working as a florist, and you always want to remove that first petal that is called the guard petal, because that's just there to protect your rose, and that's gonna help it really expand. So I'm gonna start over on this side. Now when you're adding roses, you want to make sure that you cluster them together so they show better, because if you just polka dot them throughout your bouquet, they're not really going to show as much. So I'm gonna do sets of 3s, 2s, and 1s. So basically I just added 2 right there. It's like the same rules that we do with our fake centerpieces or silk centerpieces. You add whatever happens to the left happens to the right, and what goes up must come down. So you see, by adding those 3 right there, they really just show better. So I'm gonna add 2 here to the crown, and the ones I'm gonna add to the crown, I want them to be a little bit taller so they really show. One trick that I was taught when I was working as a florist is that you cannot cut them longer. So you can always cut them shorter. Don't cut too short, because if you cut too short, your flower is not gonna have any water to drink, and well, we don't want that, right? And so if you want to extend the flower, you cannot make it longer, but you can always cut it shorter. So make sure you don't cut your flower stems too short. So I'm gonna add 2 right there. I'm gonna move over to this side right here. Aren't these gorgeous, you guys? So festive, I think. And always, like I said, make sure that you remove that guard petal, because it's just there to protect the flowers. And if you don't remove it, the flower won't open as beautifully. All right, so I'm gonna add a few more. Then we're going to add the Veronica. Veronica is one of my favorite garden flowers because when I worked as a florist, we always try to add garden flowers to our bouquets because it just makes them more elegant, I feel. It makes them look prettier and more intentional, because we grow flowers on the garden. All right, so I'm gonna add this one right here. I'm gonna start adding the Veronica, and look how beautiful this Veronica is. So pretty. Once again, give it a fresh cut so your flowers will drink some water. Out right there. Oh my gosh, that is so pretty. And if you don't know how to use the knife, then use your shears. There's nothing wrong with using shears, but I just love the knife because look, I can just keep it on my hand as I work, then I transfer into my other hand, put it on my finger again, and then insert this beautiful flower right here. So there's a set of 3. Now I'm gonna do a set of 2 over on this side. So basically cut. And remember to always insert an angle too. You wanna make sure that you angle your flower like that. I'm gonna add 2 right there. And putting that grid really does help to keep the flowers in place where you want them. So I'm gonna spin around and I'm gonna put one right here, and just 1. This is looking so good, I love it. All right, so I'm gonna add this one right here. Right here. And all the way down. All right, so now we're going to add some beautiful, beautiful lilies, and let me tell you, lily is my favorite flower in the world because I feel they are so elegant. They smell delicious. I remember one time we did a cathedral in all white flowers, and it had a whole bunch of lilies, and the day that we came for service the next morning, it just smelled heavenly, you guys. So I always recommend white lilies, and I'm gonna start right here on the crown. And at this point, it's getting kind of tough to insert your flowers. But look how much elegance that, like the points of the lilies just add to your bouquet. And so I'm going to add yet another one over on this side, opposite the other one. And make sure you remove all of these foliages that are bending down because we already have enough foliages right here. So I'm gonna insert this one right here. Oh my gosh. Look how pretty this is. I'm gonna add one of the buds, this one right here, because this one will continue to open as the day progresses and it's going to really fill in the bouquet. So maybe by the time we shoot the home tour, all of these lilies will have opened, and I think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. So let me see, I put one right here, right here. Remember to always do that triangle we're talking about. So I'm gonna insert this one right here. Yes, and these will open and just fill in like I said. All right, well, that's it. I really hope that you have learned a few tricks on how to make a gorgeous floral bouquet. I cannot wait for you guys to see what this is going to look like. Look, just came out because we continue to poke, but no problem because look, just make sure that you go all the way in and that's gonna stay right there. So make sure that you come back for the home tour December 1st. I'm super excited to show you how this looks like in the setting. All right, you guys, so that's all we have for today. We had fun sharing these DIYs with you. Which out of the three was your favorite?
Oh, I really like the lantern.
The lantern was beautiful. But I just want to say thank you for tuning in. And also don't forget to leave us a comment down below because it's Jamison's favorite thing to do on Sundays. And if you are not subscribed, consider subscribing. If you already subscribed, don't forget to turn the notification bell on.
Ding, ding.
Ding, 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 because you will not want to miss what's coming up next. Also, don't forget to share this with your friends. If you want to share or watch more videos, there's going to be a playlist right here by Jamison's face, and so you can continue to be inspired. Thank you for watching, consider subscribing, and until next one, you can watch more videos right now. Bye.
Ciao.